Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to be making an endless summer halter dress. This dress is huge. It's bigger than my table, so I have it laying out flat just like I would a t-shirt, and I've smoothed out all of the wrinkles, and now I'm using a washable marker and a piece of kite string to mark out my pattern. And I'm treating it just like a t-shirt, so think about it as if I was marking out the pattern on the side seam in the underarm section. Now I'm going to pleat along these lines, making the lines as straight as possible. And I'd say these pleats are probably about 3/4 inch tall. Notice how while I'm pleating, I'm twisting the work, keeping it in front of me. I find by doing that, it makes keeping those lines straight a lot easier. So when you're making your pleats, you want to try to keep them all the same height, and that last little bit there was really giving me the business. But now I'm going to secure it by using the tiny baby hair rubber bands, and I do have a link for them down below in the description box. It makes it really easy to go shopping for tie-dye items, especially if you're new to tie-dyeing. But you could also pick these rubber bands up at Walmart. I just like to get them from Amazon because it's like a humongous pack and they're relatively affordable, and I don't even have to leave the house. They just come right to my door. I decided to add a little bit of a different design element to the bottom of the dress. So I'm going with a spiral, and I'm treating it just like I would a t-shirt. So I decide where I want the center of the spiral to be, give it a little pinch, and then using the microwave splatter guard and a hemostat, I create the spiral. So click your hemostat down on the first click. It does not need to be overly tight. Give it a couple of twists, and then with my opposite hand, I create the spiral. And I go as far as I can using the splatter guard, and when I can't go any farther, I unclick the hemostat, hold down the center of the spiral, and gently wiggle it out. And then using the halter neckties, I'm just gonna button everything up. So I just pull those around and give it a little scrunch, and I'm going to secure it by using my second favorite rubber bands. Next, I'm going to mark out my pattern with a washable marker. So the first line I made at 1 inch, and then every line after that was 2 inches. And then I just found the center of my spiral and drew on my pieces of the pie. Now it's not necessary to mark out your pattern, but it's something that I like to do because it helps me stay on track. Now it's time for the fun part and my favorite part. We get to add the dye. So for this dress, I had Hawaii on the mind. So I was thinking tropical vibes. And this is one of my favorite color palettes. You guys have heard me say this before, how much I love to put blues and browns together. So I chose all of my really pretty tropical blues to represent the water. And then I went with amber waves and palomino gold to offset it and represent the sand. All of the colors that I'm using are on the regular Dharma dye list, except for the Tropical Dream. Tropical Dream is one of their special order dyes. It's also from Dharma, and I got it from Kathy Sprague, and you can find her over at Tie-Dye Supplies Marketplace. There's a big clump of dye on the spoon and it just does not want to come off, and I don't want to waste it. So I'm just a little over halfway to the point of 17,000 subscribers. And this is so amazing, you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing and tuning in on a regular basis. I really appreciate it. And for all of you that have been here the whole time, you guys are awesome. You support the channel. You keep me motivated. And it makes me want to continue to share. And if you're brand new to the channel, welcome to the channel. We have a lot of fun here. So click that subscribe button and hang around. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. And also I want to tell you about my Facebook group. It's Belladonna Dyes Community Tie-Dye Group. And you can find a link for it down below in the description box. It's the link that's right underneath the Etsy link. Join the group and share your work with me and share it with others. There are a lot of really wonderful people in the group, and they're very helpful, and they help answer questions. Especially if you're new to tie-dye, it's a really good resource. Next, I give the project a quick little sprinkle of soda ash, just for good measure. It's been pre-soaked in the soda ash bucket, but I'm adding a lot of ice, and so I want to make sure the pH of the fabric stays up around 10.5 to 11. And I should also mention that I have this dress on an incline. So I have the top of my rack sticking up over the edge of the tote, and I have the bottom of it propped up on 2 empty dye jars. Do not put full dye jars into your container. These are empty. I just want to create a little bit of flow through the pattern. Dharma recommends that you batch your project at 70 degrees or higher for at least 24 hours after the ice melts. And I can tell you that this project batched for the full 48 hours. When I made it, it was still barely 60 degrees. And so even though I bring my projects in the house and I have the heat up at 70 degrees, it still feels very cold. And especially when you're working with the blues, they take the longest to bond with the fabric, so you really want to give them the longest batch time possible for maximum vibrancy. Now for the rinse out. You want to start by using cold water to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric, and then increase your water up to hot and rinse until the water runs pretty much clear. And I always put my items into a garment bag before putting them into the washing machine. Once it's in the washing machine, I do 2 hot water cycles using Kirillon, which is a professional textile detergent that I get from Dharma Trading Company. And then I do a 3rd and final hot water cycle using Millsoft. And Millsoft is a professional fabric softener that I also get from Dharma. And then with the rayon, I usually let it air dry, but if I'm in a hurry, sometimes I'll put it in the dryer just for a minute. And a tip that I learned, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it does work. If you iron it while it's still just barely damp, it irons a lot easier and it doesn't look shiny afterwards. And then we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our endless summer halter dress, slight incline ice dye after it's been washed, hung to dry, and then ironed. And I think it turned out beautiful. It kind of reminds me of tiger stripes. So I put it on Bella and I took her outdoors and the wind really picked up. And so I added this in just to show you how lightweight and breezy and flowy the fabric is. And I think the back of the dress is really pretty. It goes down into that deep V. It's kind of sexy. Now these photographs are on the kitchen floor under fluorescent light, so they do look a little bit darker than what the dress actually looks like. but it's the only way that I can show you the whole pattern at the same time. And then these next photographs are of how I tied it. So if you remember, I started with a side fan fold, and this is how it turned out. And then it goes down into the spiral, and I think it looks great. Now this dress is kind of goofy. The seams are on the front and the back of the dress. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of unusual, but I guess that's what gives it the flowy bottom look. Now, talking about the seams, this dress did fall apart a little bit in the washing machine and just through the tie-dyeing process. You know, rayon is delicate and it's not meant to go through hot water cycles and being tied with sinew and rubber banded and all that stuff. So I did have to take it to a seamstress. She repaired the seams and then she reinforced the back because we were concerned that it would just split wide open. So I probably will not ever buy this dress again unless somebody absolutely has to have it. I did order a handful of them, and once I finish dyeing them, that's going to be the end of it for me. Unless Dharma, switches it up and, like reconfigures how it's made, because as beautiful as it is, it's extremely fragile. But overall, I love the dress. I think it's beautiful. So what do you guys think? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.